now, and then okay, it should be online, so we can start.
All right, cool.
All right,
So, just let me know what you want me to do. I'm still trying to catch up.
all right. Well, I'm gonna just go through the thing you sent me here.
Okay,
Should be open. Should have had it open. Give me 1 second.
no worries. What's your name, by the way? How would you like me to refer to you?
You can just refer to me as Kaloshade. It's fine.
Kaloshade. Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah, feel free to just call me Mike. It's
All right.
probably works better for me.
All right. No problem, Mike. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Um. So you've been playing since beta.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Oh man, I think I started at around was it end of season 2 actually, yeah.
Nice,
Kind of wish I was
nice.
around during beta though.
It was kind of funny. I mean, I was playing Heroes of New Earth. I've been playing MOBAs for quite some time, and then I
Mm,
was really surprised when Heroes of New Earth kind of fell down in the rankings and League took over because I thought the quality of the game was much better than League, but then the business model of free to play really hit them hard, and League kind of took over.
right. Yeah, free to plays are just I always figured from when I was younger that I don't know, free to plays were just for me because I was a young kid, didn't have any money. So I could
Yeah.
see how it like turned how it happened. I was actually honestly more surprised when I was younger that WoW was really huge because I was like, where are people getting all this money for subscriptions, especially when
Hmm.
they're young? It's
Yeah.
crazy, but yeah, that game got big too. Um, so you main top and mid, all right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, this is
Yes.
fine. And you want to expand your knowledge, it's fine. Okay, so let me just go for like solo queue. From a solo queue perspective,
Hmm.
pick ban phase slash team comps. It's it's a lot less what you can control and more so play what your team needs. Right?
Hmm.
If you're playing in top and
Hmm.
mid. So for top lane, if you see your team doesn't have a tank, then maybe you play a
Right.
more tanky person. And for mid, if your team has a lot of AP, then you can play an AD mid. But this isn't to say that let's say if you've only practiced like Ari, this isn't to say you then go ahead and you play like Zed or Yasuo because your team needs the AD.
Right. Right.
In this case in this case you haven't practiced the champion, just go with what you know. So
Yeah.
priority would be um what you know, then it would be what helps team.
Hmm.
And if you can get both of those, it'd be a higher priority overall.
Yeah. In terms of how, like, so for like the top lane, I think I definitely need to pick up and learn a more tanky top lane for sure because I feel just from my own observation of playing through gold and ranked, and I've only recently started to play ranked. I just kind of putz around and play normals most of the time, but in ranked, I seem to notice a pattern, at least within my elo range, where teams that are heavier on the tank side tend to like win at least 70 to 80% more than like just a one tank top or one tank jungle
Mm-hmm.
type of composition, which I
Right.
find really interesting. But the question I want to ask you is, in terms of the types of utility that a top laner can bring to a
Mm-hmm.
team,
Right.
other than like tank and damage, what would you say are some of the like consistent roles that are valuable for a top laner?
Okay. From my perspective, I'll try to cover all of it. Tanky
Mhm.
teams do tend to win more games at lower elo,
Mm,
because tanks cover mistakes, and tanks usually bring CC. So it's not
mm,
just the tankiness that's a big part of it. It's usually that the tanks usually have some form of like crazy CC, like Malphite with ultimate,
yeah.
Gnar, his whole Gnar bar thing where he gets like 2 extra CC abilities.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess 3 because his jump slows. Then, if I remember correctly,
Mm.
then you have things like Nautilus. You have Mundo, who only has slows, but he actually does a lot of damage and zones very well.
Yeah.
Um, So it's like it's the combination of CC and
Interesting.
tankiness that wins the games.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, that's really that really clicks actually. Of just I never put the pieces together of like if you're playing a tankier role in a lower elo, it can be more forgiving from a like mechanical standpoint of like
Right.
if I get into a bad position, it gives me a much bigger window of opportunity to escape.
Right.
And then on top of tanks usually bring CC to the battle,
Hmm.
which I think is super valuable. Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if you watched Worlds at all,
Yes,
but
definitely.
to bring up an example, if you saw where was it? Cloud9 faced, I think it was their last game of the day. No, not their last game, second to last. They
Hmm.
faced, I want to say, Flash Wolves. I think they faced
Okay.
SKT first. And they played Jayce,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Now, it's not their loss in their game. I don't think it was because Impact himself couldn't play Jayce. It just takes a lot more team coordination to be able to pull off Jayce effectively,
Mm.
or any sort of damage top lane, because
Interesting.
your jungler needs to give them more resources. Especially if they're winning the lane,
Hmm.
they need wards. They need jungle presence to make sure the enemy top laner stays down. You need to get that
Mm.
tower down fast. Well, not too fast. Depending on the matchup, sometimes you want to leave it up a little later so the top laner can't roam. Sometimes you want
Yeah.
to take it down. But yeah, they need the resources to be able to do things like that. You need to protect from flanks from the enemy tanky top laner or heavy CC top laner. So just damage tops in general don't really it's not you're doing your team a disservice. It's now your whole team needs to play to a higher tier of play that they may not be ready for.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the issues that I'm running into because I feel that I tend to usually play DPS top laners,
Mhm.
Quinn, Jayce. I do play Gnar, but I didn't think I was very effective on him.
Mhm.
But those are the two that I've been kind of maining recently and ranked. And although I think I have some decent individual performance there, I am very susceptible to ganks. And whenever I face a tanky top laner, I feel like they always win in the late game, regardless of
Right.
how well I do early. Um, yeah,
Right.
so I think that's definitely a deficiency that I need to pick up.
If I look at your games, like some of the losses are like early, like 26, 27 minutes. That's fine. But then like you have some of the other losses where things will start hitting like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, things like that, where
Right.
damaged top laners don't necessarily fall off because they still have high amounts of damage. You know, that's what you're playing them for.
Mm-hmm.
It's that the enemy tank, they still probably got their items, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they probably weren't punished hard enough. I mean, they were punished, sure, but they're
Right.
still eventually going to get items, even if, even regardless, if they can jump in, you know, get the CC down and their team follows up, then regardless of whether they die or not, um, yeah, regardless of whether they die or not, you know, that CC's gone down. Their team followed up. The damage happened, and you know
Mm-hmm.
that you might even eliminate one or two people.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. That's pretty insightful for me because I've always kind of had this, I think, inherent understanding of obviously recognizing the pattern of like a tankier team seems to win in my elo bracket, but not really understanding why. And this definitely helps shed some light on that. So that's good information. I'm just taking some notes here, which sounds hilarious, but
No, it's
it's
fine.
valuable.
I'll be putting the video up on YouTube afterwards, also, so you can review it.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
next, so I think if anything, you should try to play different champions.
Hmm.
You're
Okay.
playing Gnar, Quinn, Jayce, high skill cap. You're also playing
Hmm.
Kassadin, Akali. You like every champion you have here except for Swain is high skill cap.
Mm. Okay.
Kassadin takes a lot of knowledge about the map and how to work around and make sure you press your advantages. A lot of these champions snowball, even, which is another concept that takes a lot of knowledge on how to do effectively. And then you have
Hmm.
people like Jin, who's just he's not. I wouldn't say he's mechanically intensive like like Vayne or
Mm-hmm.
Lucian or so, but he
Mm-hmm.
does take a higher level of understanding than say an Ashe or a Sivir.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so it's I would play. These champions may seem fun or so, but if you want to just learn the game and grind it out, I would play some easier champions for your elo bracket.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Who would you recommend for like top or mid? I mean, I think Swain is probably a solid pick that could potentially go into both positions.
Yeah.
But I'm open to suggestions for other champions as well.
Okay. Do you know who LS is?
Lysandra?
No, no. He's a LS short for Last Shadow.
No, I do
Okay.
not.
He is a top tier coach, far better than myself. Charges a lot though. Um,
Okay.
well, I mean, it's worth the price. But he does have his own tier list for champions you would play to win.
Okay.
And it has one for every elo bracket. Let me see if I can find his last one.
Nice. Okay.
No.
Yeah, that sounds valuable.
Okay. Is this it? Oh, this is the video. Need the graphic. Picture. Okay. So take a look at this.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, wow. All
Okay.
right.
So you're right now. You're gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So from this list, my personal recommendation for you is keep playing Swain.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up um, either you want to have. I would say you want to have like 3 champions to play.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
keep playing Swain.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up Darius or Trundle, maybe even Malphite, and I would stick with
Okay.
those.
Okay.
While I do agree that his other picks here may seem a little they may seem a little extravagant, like Heimerdinger top lane, Pantheon, Rammus.
Zach. Zach's
Yeah.
kind of an interesting. I think I've seen like one or two Zach's top, but I've never seen them be like effective.
Oh, wait, he has Zac for top lane.
Is that?
No, I think that's
I'm sorry,
jungle.
that's
Yeah,
jungle. Sorry, I didn't read
it's
the
no
chart
problem.
right.
It's no problem. So I'm just looking at the S tiers here, but he also has the A and B. Okay, so this tier list is for winning. So that's why you also see champions like Heimerdinger, Pantheon, Rammus, because played effectively, and
Mm-hmm.
as long as you really learn the champion,
Mm-hmm.
these champions are very strong. Like Heimerdinger, basically against people who don't know how to play against it. That's gonna be most top laners.
Yeah.
As long as you're controlling your zones correctly and playing off of your turrets, they won't be able to touch you without their jungler.
Yeah.
And with
Totally.
effective warding, you can just leave if their jungler comes. And even at around maybe level 6 or so, you can just basically 2v1 them
Yeah,
and
I've seen that happen.
and completely win, or just kill the jungler because they're going to be coming in with less items, so less HP and everything. And
Yeah.
especially if they don't build magic resist, then that lane itself is over, and you can push your advantage around the map as long as you and your team play correctly. And then there's Pantheon, huge early game snowballer. At like you can get killed, you can get solo kills at level 2, 3, all the way to 6 even.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like once the Pantheon starts snowballing, there is almost no stopping them if they do it correctly. Because you can push your lane out, put it under
Mm-hmm.
tower, and then all of a sudden you can walk down to mid, alt
Jump
there,
in.
and then their wards aren't really gonna see you unless they've warded deep. So that's a free gank on mid lane. Now your mid lane is even to ahead. If they were behind, now they should be around even. If they were even, they'll be a bit ahead, especially if you put the kill on them or you take the kill. You'd most likely take it to snowball even further.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you could even just continue and walk down bottom lane. kill and like help down there. I mean that's a little extreme, but you just
Hmm.
have so much breadth to move around the map. It's like your team has a second jungler.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
play a little bit of Pantheon, but I don't think I'm very skilled with him. But I don't think the skill cap there is very high for him either.
mm, I mean the skill floor I would say is pretty low. Like anyone can pick him up at the beginning,
Hmm.
learn pretty well. I would say the ceiling. I wouldn't know exactly where to put the ceiling. I wouldn't say it's far too low, but
Mm.
yeah, I would also say that it could be decently high.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
Especially with the global sort of twisted fate type of ultimate that you can get out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then
Would you
Ram
think?
is a little bit of the same, except for the 1v1s and 2v2s. It's just like basically having another jungler like running down and fucking anyone up that he chooses.
Yeah. Yeah. A question about Pantheon, more of a design perspective, but I'm curious to hear your answers. Like in comparison, like Pantheon, because he has a lot of abilities that I would say are very reliable, like the stun, the Q, and then even the flurry is pretty high percentage of success.
Hmm.
Like from an overall perspective of the top laners that are listed here, do you think he's well balanced in comparison to the rest in terms of what he provides to the team, like
Okay,
damage wise, CC wise?
I would say, little column A, little column B, really,
Okay.
because if he gets behind, right?
Yeah.
If Pantheon gets behind and he doesn't know how to turn the game around, that is some dead weight. He
Mm.
does bring a stun, so that's great,
Hmm.
but it starts to be some very dead weight. And he's sort of like Jayce and Quinn, where if the game goes late, dead weight again, unless he's like
Hmm.
split pushing in because no one can 1v1 him or whatever.
Right.
So he can end up being dead. It's just I just wanted to really explain why he's on the list in general.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
yeah, I think he's still good. Uh, would it be probably the best out of all these guys? I don't know. I personally I guess that would come down more to opinion and how you feel about it. I personally
Yeah.
love just playing tanks and CC champions.
Hmm.
Um, because I mean, one, it's how I climbed out of the abyss that is bronze, but I just feel like I have so much control over how the game turns out if I can do the initiations and if I can be the one on the front line protecting my people
Hmm.
and making sure they get to do what they need to do. If I'm, sort of their warden, sort of their warden, standing in front of them and maybe even doing a good percentage of the damage.
Gotcha. Gotcha. One thing that's interesting looking at the list that you may be able to shed some light on. So, like looking through bronze, silver, gold, a lot of the champion pool is fairly similar in terms of
Right.
what would be considered top tier. And then as you get into um, platinum plus, it seems to change a little bit where less tanks seem to occupy the pool, and it kind of goes more DPS or initiation oriented champions.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think the justification is
Okay.
for that?
So this tier list right now is for pack 618, which is the
Hmm.
one they're using at Worlds, and it's not too different from the patch we're currently on, since they didn't make big changes from after Worlds to now. That's what they said in their dev post. They didn't want to make too big changes. That's why the patch notes are very sparse right now. I would also recommend reading every single patch note you can. You never
Okay,
want to miss a change on the game. It's very important.
gotcha.
Alright, so just with this in general, in the lower tier set of champions that are
Hmm.
really good, don't change too much ever, really. They
Mm.
don't ever change very highly. Um, they're basically the same picks. Maybe if a pick like say Zach comes back into relevance, they go back on the list.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they go back onto the list. They get added to the list, but people don't usually fall off unless there's a better version of them out there. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
in low elo, the strategy is almost always the same.
Mm-hmm.
You want you want tanks to cover mistakes. You're gonna most things are gonna come down to team fights. Maybe even lane phase can take a big part of it, but since games don't close very fast, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
mostly playing like 30, 40-minute games.
Mm.
Even if you got a huge lead and the game should have been ended by, say,
Mm-hmm.
25 minutes or so. Things like that can happen. So that's why the lower tier doesn't really change.
Mm-hmm.
From from platinum, there's more meta picks, but it's still more of the same. It's honestly not too much different having run through this elo already. It's
Mm.
just, play the game, people get more effective at closing games out faster, but there's still going to be a lot of potential for comebacks and everything.
Mm.
Especially since here on the NA server, we don't really surrender games like that. I mean, people want to surrender, but how many times do the surrenders go through? You usually end up playing very long games in
Mm.
comparison to maybe some other servers.
Gotcha.
And then Diamond, there's more meta picks because the level of play is just going up. So just because you're playing a tank or whatever, not playing what's on meta can really bite you in the ass. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's not completely done. There's still a lot of bread and butter stuff from the other levels that you can still incorporate here. It's just someone playing something that's on meta,
Mm-hmm.
and using it effectively is going to be far more effective than you playing whatever, because I mean, unless you're better than them, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what the meta is. It's
The
the set of
but
most effective strategies at the time.
right, right. Makes sense.
So that's why from Diamond up, there are far more meta picks, and you'd see things like Kled and Gangplank coming in, because you wouldn't put Gangplank in the hands of a silver player and say, hey, go play Gangplank. They don't know how to farm correctly to get all the stacks he needs for the Silver Serpents. They don't know how to watch the map to effectively use his ultimate, so that's basically not having an ultimate.
Mm.
Um, they don't know how to do barrel chains properly, or if they do, it's not going to be like the success rate is maybe going to be 40% of the time when you want 80% of the time or so.
Mm.
So it's just
Yeah.
not worth having it when you could play something else, and regardless of what happens in the game, you can still tear things up. Like there's like in even like let's see on the tier list here, Garen. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know Garen specifically. I was watching a friend play a game yesterday and around Silver 3-4 MMR. The enemy team Garen just completely ran over the enemy top Renekton. And if you would ask anyone who's a better pick, Renekton or Garen, most people, would tell you Renekton.
Mm-hmm.
He brings more to the table. But the Renekton could not utilize his champion to the full effect and got utterly slaughtered in lane. When it came to the mid-game team fights and everything, Garen was just such a big issue that if they didn't
Yeah.
focus him first, then they would die. And even if they did, he'd make it out. His team is still there. They'd spend so many resources taking fixing, what happened top lane, trying to make sure everyone doesn't die in the team fight, that it just didn't matter at that point. He could
Right.
just run in, do what he needed to do. If he felt he was getting low, he could just leave. He still had a true damage ultimate on one person on their team, and it was never going to be Renekton again because of how the what is it? The villain system works now. So it's just he picks someone on your team and says you die, and that's basically
Accomplishes
it. Yeah.
that. Yeah. Here's an interesting question. So I see like Kennen seems to be like a very valuable top pick, especially in Worlds, just because of the initiation power
Mm-hmm.
of his ultimate can potentially stun, a whole team if positioned really well. Why do you think in his list that Kennen isn't prioritized as being a top pick or even an S or an A pick for platinum down? I find that interesting.
Um. Okay. So Kennen in himself is a squishy lane bully.
Hmm.
Well, not completely squishy, but certainly squishier than say a Darius or a Trundle or a Malphite.
Mhm.
and Kennen takes far more mechanics than they do. You have to manage when his stuns are coming up. You have to manage his lightning rush is his tool to get in, but also his tool to get out.
Mhm.
Um, it's just there's this far more mechanics on Kennen, and there's far less
I
room
see.
for error.
I
Plus,
see.
if you see in Worlds, there's tons of TP flanks with Kennen. Kennen
Mhm.
doesn't just show up to a team fight and like walk with the team and he's doing tons of damage. Normally, he'll TP or catch a flank when there's no vision because his team has gotten vision control and come around the
Mhm.
back. And then their team is fucked, and maybe he'll even one shot some person, Zanya's if he has it, and stay alive. It's just
Mhm.
too much for teams to handle at that level. Especially if you tell
Gotcha.
your team, "Hey, don't fight, bait them in. I need to teleport in to make this
Right.
work or whatever." Um, the level of communications, because there's no voice comms,
Right.
is far worse. Um, the level of execution is obviously far worse than any pros, and the reason it can work in say Diamond Plus is because they're more expecting
Right.
you to do those things. The
Gotcha.
supports are better at gaining vision. I mean, the teams in general are better at gaining vision, keeping it down. They know, oh hey, we can't run into these 5 guys and just fight them, so we're gonna hold here. We're gonna call Kennen for an initiation, or he's gonna split push the lane. And
Mm.
then if we do call Kennen, or he says he's coming down, everyone has the reaction time and is paying attention enough to know, okay, this is it. This is the moment. This is where we kill them and we get the ace and we can end the game.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like the thing that really like hit home for me is like with Kennen, you can't just be in a regular type of team engagement where you guys are just grouping up mid and then flash rushes in ults. Like that usually is not the avenue that you see him being utilized in
Right.
Worlds. And I think the coordination from a team probably requires more experienced players. Therefore, having him in the higher leagues as the top tier makes sense as opposed to the bottom tiers.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I understand that.
Okay. Okay. So I think we covered that decently. So moving on
Cool.
from pick ban phase, I guess next would be. I can cover one really fast. Itemization, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here, do you know about Champion.gg?
Champion.qq? Yes.
Yes.
That's what I usually reference every time I'm playing a game
Right.
and then just look at the most optimal item sets
Yes.
with like slight variation depending on
Okay.
like who I'm laning against.
So I would recommend using Champion.gg,
Hmm.
or you can go to. Do you know OP.gg?
Yes, but I haven't used it for itemization, I don't think. That's
Okay.
what I assume you were looking at for like my summoner stats.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So if you go to OP.gg and you go to the top, there's a thing called leaderboards.
Mm-hmm.
Before you click that, oh wait, sorry. Before you click that, go to the right, and you'll see a thing that says English in a shape like the American flag.
Yeah.
Okay, so click that, and for region, I want you to set it to Korea. Actually, you can keep it on NA, but I personally use Korea.
Okay.
And then language, keep that as English. So once you've
Okay.
set that, then go back to the leaderboards. Um,
Okay.
and you can go to champion enthusiast. Right.
Champion enthusiast.
All
Oh,
right.
see it.
All right.
Okay, got
You
it.
can go to champion enthusiast. Type in the champion you want. So let's say Darius.
Mm-hmm.
Click on him, and then you can see the people who are playing Darius the most at high Korean solo queue. Now
Mm.
the top person here is like a Diamond 2 Darius player. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
He has 1,000 games on him with a 52% win rate.
How do you
So,
see the amount of games that he has on Darius? Oh, I see it.
clicked him.
1,036. Got
Yeah,
it.
I just clicked him, and then well, yeah,
Gotcha.
you can see it right there, but I just clicked him, and then you can go to his runes and masteries, and they might be in English. They might not be. Sometimes
Mm.
they are. So this is why I also recommend you can also just do it on NA.
Mm. Okay.
Because our solo queue is not fabled as great, but it should be good enough for what you need. No one's gonna
Mm.
go in with completely dog shit runes and masteries.
Right. Right. Right.
Because
Okay.
they may be playing maybe a champ that's not really good or won't win the Elo, but you know they're not gonna go in with dog shit everything. That's just stupid.
Gotcha.
Let's see what else.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and if you know a pro or something and you know they play the champion a lot, you can always look them up and see what they want and see what they use, or maybe a Korean pro, because sometimes the Korean pros will have their runes masteries in English and everything, or at least the name of the page will be in English, and then you can just easily see what they're
Right, based
using.
on like the rune icons or
Right.
whatever.
Or and North American pros because they're trying in solo queue and everything too, so you can see what they're using, especially if they play the champion a decent amount.
Right,
I
right, right.
tend to use the champion enthusiast and just look for one that's in English. Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
You
that's the all of these avenues are great because
nice.
at lower tiers of play you really just need cookie cutter runes and masteries. You just
Mhm.
need the basics. You don't need anything extravagant. You mostly just go like armor, yellows, MR blues, and then the core, and then proper reds and quints, depending on champions.
Mhm.
There's also cooldown, but some people don't have cooldown runes, things like that. Runes and masteries, having proper masteries is very important. Having proper runes is less so important, only
Mhm.
because there's slight optimizations pros will do, like certain amounts of cooldown reduction, maybe sometimes flat health over armor, sometimes even scaling in some of these.
Mhm.
But yeah, most people don't have all of those because they're still getting all the champions and everything. So you just want really cookie cutter runes and masteries, and then you can go to champion.gg or even the champion enthusiast and see what they usually build and things like
Mm.
that.
Okay.
Let me see. So if I picked Darius. Wait, where's the? It's actually a cool thing on. It's actually a cool thing that they show you. Can't remember where to find it. Oh, champion analytics. Actually, this is
Okay.
another great place you want to go on champion.gg on op.gg. So then you just pick the role, let's say middle, and then we
Mhm.
find the champion, let's say LeBlanc.
Okay.
And this is actually probably way more effective than going to the leaderboards. I should have brought you here first. They show you the skill order that people usually go with, the summoner
Gotcha.
spells, starter items, core build. They even break down the boots. Keystone, they show you the entire mastery pages and everything. And this is what people are most likely to go. So it's just sort of like champion.gg.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's basically around the same. You can get from here, you can get from there, but this one allows you to get from Korea as well, because there can be slight differences in what people play because of what people think is optimal.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this is good. I've used op.gg for summoner stats, just looking people up, but I haven't
Mm-hmm.
actually dove too much into the actual analytics side of it. I tend to use
Right.
champion.gg, but this is a good resource as well.
Okay. So we've covered pick ban, we've covered itemization. Okay, so tactical and micro decision making. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is I mean, this is something that I think is learned probably over time. Just when you get used to a champion, there's a lot of things that, what's the threshold of how far you can go in a lane without
Mm-hmm.
vision based on the champion's mobility? When's a good time to get vision? Like, one thing that I always find
Mm-hmm.
hilarious is that I always have this inkling in the back of my head of like, oh, let me clear this pink ward in this bush. Like, I'll just stay here for a couple of seconds. It might be a bad idea. They're probably collapsing in this direction.
Right.
And then, sure enough, I get shit on, and I'm like, hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't listen to that instinct in the
Yeah.
games just because like I'm like, oh well, if I can pull it off, then I'm getting like more value out of it for
Right.
being in a bad position. But like
See,
that's
see, I have this. I have actually the same problem, and it
mm,
cost me a lot during games. I would
mm,
definitely just start listening to that inkling where I can get really messed up here. You may not always know why you can get really
mhm.
messed up, but if you feel that way, get out of there. Then when you
Yeah.
then maybe replay the game and go like, oh, okay, I see why this was bad, and then try to recognize those situations, so you don't have to wait for the inkling. You just won't go for them because you know,
Right.
oh
Right.
yeah, that's bad. I was there before, could have died or did die. Let's not do that again, and then
Yeah.
eventually become habits.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, like, so the thing that's interesting, I think, with my player behavior is I played League so much, pretty much, I'd say 95% of my games have been normal games, and I just
Mm-hmm.
tend to like to try different characters, fuck around, pull off crazy plays, and just
Right.
be over aggressive. So it's a completely different mentality that I'm trying to adopt to
Mm.
for ranked play, where I'm always going for the safer choice or
Right.
the more optimal choice, which is it's tough. Like
Yeah.
it's a game. I just want to like fuck around and kill shit sometimes, but in
Right.
order to play competitively, I know that's not like the best mentality to have.
So yeah, I think it's very good that you already like recognize that, hey, I need to change what I'm doing, so
Hmm.
in order to get things right. I would just yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Try to remember, hey, I'm doing this. This might not be optimal. Let me back off for a second
Hmm.
and do something else, because normally this won't get me punished. Yes, here I'm probably going to die.
Hmm.
Also, when it comes to micro decisions, I
Hmm.
would I would not. Okay, there's two things. One, try to watch players that are better than you on a champion if you're trying to learn them, like Kylo streams of different one tricks or whatever, to see what they do and try to extrapolate why.
Hmm.
So that, because a big part of mechanics is not just knowing this works, it's knowing why it works.
Right,
Like
right, right.
if you ever see 1v1s happen and you see some person come out ahead, it's not just, oh, that guy outplayed because he knew this skill shot and he dodged this or whatever. The person who won only went into it thinking they would win because they had this much information on the summoner spells, the enemy build, how far along, how strong their champion was, how weak the enemy champion was in comparison, and that they could, even if slightly, win that trade. So
Mm.
trades and things like that, it's just the process of trying different things, and every time something happens, remember, okay, remember why it happened. Like, okay, maybe you're Ezreal and you take a level 2 fight with Jin, and
Hmm.
you win it really hard, right? And you go, oh, hey, I won that really hard. But then you take a level 3 fight with Jin. You've both been healed up magically. Let's just say that you've both been healed up magically. And then he wins the fight actually harder, right?
Hmm.
In scenario 1, you might realize, oh wait, he was standing in a huge minion wave, so he was
Hmm.
taking all that extra damage. And then in scenario 2, it was more even. The minion waves didn't have as much into play, and then you might realize, well, hold on, without this minion wave in my advantage, Jin, assuming we both played the fight correctly and didn't miss like any big skill shots or whatever, Jin is just stronger at this level
Mm.
and at the current
Yeah.
point of itemization. All right, and then you go down in the game and you try fighting him again, and you're like, oh, he's beating me. But then maybe come late game, right?
Hmm.
And you go at him and you make sure his W is down or he just used his Q, and you beat him in the fight, and you go like, okay, I beat him with this. Am I truly stronger at this point in the game, or is it just he had these down, so I won the fight because I picked a good fight? It's
Mm.
just all about recognizing what happened and learning from it.
Right, right, right. Okay.
Okay. Now, metagame slash objective priorities. Hmm. Okay,
Yeah, so this is something
I have
that
to ask you
is
for clarification on that. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, so I think it's something that's pretty prominently different when watching Worlds versus playing in my Elo bracket,
Mhm.
and it's really surprising how I would say objective focused
Mhm.
everything is in Worlds, and then And I think that's obviously because of the level of coordination. They understand the value of certain objectives and the importance of it. And when it comes to my elo bracket, like when I want to push objectives and maybe I got a solo kill on top and the jungler was heading this way for a gank but doesn't come because now he sees that I killed him, but it's just like,
Right.
hey, like come up here anyway. Let's like try to push down this tower.
Right.
I find it hard to balance and evaluate the value of trying to take objectives specifically in my elo bracket versus just kind of playing whatever the jungler is going for, or just trying to adhere to what
Right.
the team is doing. And gradually they'll get objectives over time, nevertheless. But I tend to want to, like, after watching World so much, it's like I tend to have this focus on wanting to complete objectives.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
sorry, that's my shitty headset again.
That's no problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so like I tend to get in shitty situations where I will be pushing for an objective
Hmm.
and realize that I'm caught out, get ganked, and then I'm fucked. So it's like I always have that hard balance of like I should push for the objective versus like, okay, my team's not with me, like maybe I should just back out. So I think there's like a bit of a different. My assumption is there's a bit of a different dynamic in terms of objective priority in my elo versus like your elo or worlds. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think that's just something that's hard to learn.
It definitely is, but it comes from understanding the fundamentals of League or so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you get a kill on the enemy top laner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want your jungler was coming up, but you got the kill,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to focus down this tower.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to think to yourself, and this is every time similar situations happen where you can get a tower or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get this? Most likely, you're going to say to yourself, yes. Because if you can't get this, well, then you might not have thought about it. Or if you didn't think you could get it, you might not have thought about it. But sometimes, there will be times where you'll be like, no, maybe there's too few minions for us to get this objective, or we're going to lose something. You gotta think of all the pros and cons. So let's say your jungler does come up with you to finish that. Now,
Okay.
if it's earlier in the game, the death timers are going to be lower, so you take that into consideration. Take into consideration the enemy top laner summoner spells. What did they have? Are they running Ignite, or are they running Teleport?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they're running Teleport, you're wondering, okay, is Teleport alive? I mean, is Teleport up? Can he come back here and stop us from taking this tower? If my jungler comes here and helps me take this tower now, does this end the lane phase? Do I want to bully this guy some more? Are we gonna lose Dragon for my top lane, for my jungler being up here, and then the enemy, or could we lose Dragon because the enemy's gonna punish because they know now it's 4v3 on the bot side of the map and there's nothing they can do?
Right.
If the enemy top laner comes back up here with a teleport, are we low enough where we're gonna die? Can we fight him anyway? Things like that. What ultimates are up? It's just a process of slowly tracking more and more things around the map to make better decisions.
Gotcha. So in the example that you gave of like, do we want to take this tower versus do I want to stay in lane longer to bully the opponent?
Mm-hmm.
This may kind of show my inadequate knowledge, but
No,
like,
it's no problem.
wouldn't it always be more valuable to the team if the choice was like take the tower versus stay in lane to bully? Wouldn't it be always more optimal to take down the tower and then kind of focus on another lane?
It depends. Honestly, it truly
Okay.
depends on a lot of different variables, matchups, how much bullying can really get done, time frame in the game, things like that.
Okay. So like, what would be a scenario where lane like opting out of taking down a tower would be more optimal than taking it down and like focusing on another lane?
So one of these that came up in Worlds recently, right?
Okay.
Was Jayce v Kennen on the top lane. I can't remember who was playing who.
Okay.
But they got the kill on Kennen as Jayce, and they elected not to send resources up to take the tower.
Okay.
or they might have, and it was a bad decision. But the reason is, Kennen gets a lot off of roams and being with his team. Now, if
Mm.
he's top lane getting his resources, that's what he can't do, because then he's going to miss farm and put himself further behind. And if the play with his team doesn't work out, well, then Kennen's down an X amount of extra gold, right?
Right.
And there's nothing he can do to get that back because that wave is gone. It's not even. I'm sorry. It's not even pushing to the enemy side. So then now he can't go all hold on, sorry. If they took that tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Kennen is free to roam because he can push his lane out and then he can go and help his team. But if they don't take that tower, Jayce can bully him more, increase the CS lead or keep it where it is. There should be one since they just killed him. He can elect to solo kill Kennen again if he gets the opportunity, because Kennen most likely no longer has Flash or the rest of his summoners. The jungler can go up there and pressure again, and they can get another kill. Especially,
Interesting.
They can just keep Kennen in top lane rather than having him anywhere else fucking up the map for everybody else.
Interesting. So the mindset there is more about will this decision affect the behavior of the enemy top laner, and how their play style is based on like the character they're choosing. Kennen in this example being very valuable, roaming around and engaging with team fights or ganks. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, theoretically, I would assume it wouldn't have that much
impact in solo.
Yeah, that much importance, because I mean, if Kennen wants to roam and get ganks and the tower's still up,
he's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
see, this is another thing. It's careful consideration because solo queue and worlds are two different animals, so you have to take them in accordingly.
For sure.
Now, in solo queue, it still might be better to not take that tower as fast, because with less coordination, if you place your own wards or your junglers on your side and willing to help you, then a solo kill at Worlds is probably only going to turn into, unless if the top laner disadvantage is like huge, it might turn into one more solo kill, right? But in solo queue, there could be 3-4 deaths before the jungler even responds.
Yeah.
And then a 4-0 you versus an 0-4 Kennen. 0-4 Kennen is doing nothing. He's got no farm. He's got no items. He's going to be too chicken to go in to start fights. I mean, he should be, because he's going to blow up like a firework, I guess. I mean, that's about it. He's going to run into the enemy team, and if they all just focus him down, he's gone. There's no hex tech, the hex tech item that dashes you in. He's not going to have that early, and even if he does, then there's no Zanyas to save himself.
Right.
He's going to have less, so then you can just keep the lane going.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That seems like there's a better value proposition there. Is like if you know you can continue to 1-1v1 scenarios playing in lower elo brackets, you're usually not going to get that high degree of jungler retaliation. And if you have good vision, you can prevent that from happening anyway.
Yes.
And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes you take the tower, and then if you have coordination with your jungler, the enemy jungler's entire left side is gone now, because you and your jungler control that. And then now you're putting down their jungler.
Right.
The enemy top laner is still up there. He's going to be late on roams and everything. And even if he does roam, he's going to be missing out in his lane. And as long as you execute these things appropriately, and you're looking out for his retaliation and deal with that appropriately, then you'll be fine. And you can then start, hey, now you're winning. Now you've roamed down to mid and Kenny can't follow. Now you're winning mid. Maybe even you can do a TP play bottom. I wouldn't suggest those all the time, but it's possible. I really wouldn't suggest those. Those take a lot of team coordination and can easily be fucked up. You can go with your jungler to make the enemy jungler's life hell, and then this just affects the mentality of the entire enemy team. And in solo queue, that's a big deal because
Okay.
teams will be so fast to quit when there's a 4-0 Darius on the enemy team that can dunk literally anyone and no one can stop him because they don't know, oh, hey, if we just CC the guy where he can't hit us, then we're in a much better position. Or if the jungler gave him help earlier, or if the jungler and mid laner went like, okay, this is a problem, coordinated together, roamed up to top lane and dealt with that.
Right.
These things are less likely to happen because people don't know that's what we need to do to make sure this doesn't go out of control.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's kind of touch and go with me in terms of like trying to figure out whether or not identifying and going for objectives um, is the right call at any given time in my
Right.
games. But I think a lot of my issue and things that I need to improve on too is just better map awareness and management,
Right.
especially of like the enemy jungler. Like I
Okay.
usually have a very good idea of okay, what is top blown? What summoners does he have up? Am I able to win a solo fight engagement if he tries to engage me one on one?
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to be able to recognize their behavior of like if they're fronting and they're trying to come forward and they usually don't, it's like okay, clearly like a jungler is in a ganking position, like maybe it's time just to back out.
Right.
But I don't recognize like if I have a strong advantage in top lane, like I tend to just naturally want to push that harder and keep pushing it harder, and I
Right.
and I lose focus on
The
where the
map.
jungler, yeah, and where the jungler could be and
Mm-hmm.
whether or not he's coming up to help relieve that pressure on his team.
Okay. Let me look at the statistics on. Okay, so go to your op.gg, go to the ranked
Okay.
column, and go to your last Jayce ranked game.
Okay, give me a second.
No problem.
PWG. What juice? Ranked. All right, my last Jayce game.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay, so you went 8, 6, and 5, but the game was over 26 minutes. Just looking purely from the stats, I have no idea what happened in game, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna extrapolate what happened here. The enemy
Mm-hmm.
top laner was 4, 7, and 11,
Mm-hmm.
and the enemy team came back, won this game through whatever means. Doesn't really matter, but let's just look at the stats.
Okay.
Um, damage dealt to enemy champion was like 16,000. You went Tier of the Goddess. I think top lane Jayce is now skip Tier of the Goddess and just go straight into Ghost Blade. By the way,
Mm.
um,
Okay.
that's another thing. The cookie cutter build. You want to just always make sure your build is up to date. I don't know if that's
Gotcha.
currently the best one or not. That people say to use in solo queue, but
Gotcha.
you can. There's also pro builds and stuff that you can check to just make sure you're using the optimal one. But from what I've
Yeah.
seen, they just go Ghost Blade now. Um,
Where are you getting the match stats? I'm just
Oh
looking at
right,
like
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you to press the button. So like, if you look at the right next
yeah.
to the enemy champions, I mean actually your champions. There's
The
a
little
eye. If you look, there's a
okay.
little eye. So if you click the eye, this whole thing pops up with a lot of information,
Yeah,
and you
okay.
can select certain summoners from the game just to see their personal match information.
Gotcha.
You can
Gotcha.
also see. Give me 1 second. It's loading. But yeah, we can go down. You can also see all the previous information by like this little blue match information button in the top right. There's
Gotcha.
the team timeline.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
basically everything that Riot has.
Mhm.
Everything that Riot has on the website on their personal match history website,
Right.
except
Gotcha.
for the Riot has like a little cool timeline graphic for exactly for where every kill and death went down. While here
Yeah.
it's the timeline's on the side and you more have to like read into it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so let's see. You got a kill on Riven at 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. You so
Mhm.
clearly from the game you started off strong.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then you died at 11 minutes and 10 minutes. If we keep scrolling down, might miss some stuff. You got a tower at 13 minutes. Killed Riven again. Then Rise. Then you killed. MF. That's all we really need to look at because you lost
Okay.
the game. Now, if
Okay.
we look at that, that was what, like 6 or so kills, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
more. Maybe that was all late, very early into the game. Now,
Right.
normally the game should be over,
Yeah.
right? But if we look, um, you ended up dying 5 more times after that, and if we look at your wards placed, you've only placed 8 wards in the entire game.
Okay.
It,
What's the average amount of words that are supposed to be placed per game?
I have no idea, but it's
It's a lot more than 8.
yeah, it's definitely more than 8, and it's
Okay.
definitely more than 0 pink words.
Okay.
So you need to, especially if you have leads and you want to push them,
Mm-hmm.
you need to buy pink wards to make sure that your vision is going to last, and you're going to be able to not die. I'm assuming that in this game, after you got the third Riven kill and you died to Rumble or whatever, it was because after you killed her or so, he came in with a gank, or maybe they ganked you and you got her anyway.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
But I do remember that I had a strong lead against Riven, and then I think I got the tower down and eventually tried to help out in other scenarios, but then we were just losing all of the engagements and
Right.
just poor execution in terms of our Alistar trying to engage, who's Mute and Big Balls are my friends, and I'm gonna try to not play solo queue with them anymore. I think they're good players, but they tend to just the execution I think is a degree lower than what I'd like to see from teammates.
Right. I would say never. I would say only play solo queue.
Okay.
If you're looking to improve at the game, that's the
Mm-hmm.
only way.
Okay.
Right now, you need to not be thinking about higher level macro plays and who's exactly going to engage and everything. I mean, basically in solo queue, everyone covers that themselves. If they're playing an engaged champion, they know, or they
Mm-hmm.
should know that okay,
Right.
I'm this front line. I got to be the one to engage. Or if they're playing some peel champion, they know okay, I've got to protect this person or whoever.
Gotcha.
So that level of autonomy there, where you're not all on voice comms, thinking up strategies. I had air quotes around strategies, but you can't see me. Strategies and methods to win the game. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna because you guys don't have all the information you need.
Right.
You're going
Right.
with the best you have, but at the same time, it's not gonna be great. So you
Yeah.
guys need to be able to just focus on yourself and your play, right? And
Mm-hmm.
review your gameplay and make yourself a better teammate. So then, almost regardless of what happens in the game, by being a good teammate and knowing what you're supposed to do, you'll be fine. You never have to think about what your whole team needs to do. You just have to think about with your champion and what's going on. This is what I need to do to make sure we get this win.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's like with dynamic queue, right?
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion on that is dynamic queue wasn't a problem. Maybe with the queue times, because that was garbage, but that was more new champion select rather than dynamic queue itself.
Right.
My personal view is dynamic queue wasn't a problem because regardless as if the enemy, except at high level, regardless as if the enemy team was coordinated or not,
Right.
all of those people, yourself included, are the same skill level. Meaning, they can only pull off stuff as good or as bad as you yourself can pull off.
Mm-hmm.
And from just reminding yourself that, hey, I have a lot to learn about the game, so do they. Their
Right.
strategies aren't going to be LCS caliber. Yeah, there are going to be some times where, oh no, now there's 4 people in the mid lane. I never would have expected this because the enemy team is so coordinated and they caught me off guard with this crazy gank. Well, if you paid attention,
Right,
then
should be able
you
to
would,
recognize
yeah,
that.
the top laner's missing, the jungler is always missing, maybe the bottom lane was missing at some point. You could die, so you should be playing safer. Or you should have had wards so you could see it coming if you weren't gonna play safer and you wanted to push your advantages.
Yeah.
So it's always like, yeah, they're all coming up with these strategies and they're gonna gank and they're gonna move around as a team, but if they're doing that terribly, then it doesn't matter how good. It doesn't matter how many people of them are on voice comms.
Right.
It's just gonna be the same. It's basically another solo queue game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think I'm not sure. I don't think I did dynamic queue too much. I usually would just mostly solo, but every now and then I'd play with a couple of buddies just because like they're on and they're roughly within the same elo range. But
I think next
yeah.
season, if you want a competitive environment for your friends, then there is Flex Queue coming out and the return of solo and duo queue. If you haven't seen that, so
No, what is that?
ranked is going back to purely solo queue and duo queue,
Okay.
except in Challenger where there's only solo.
Okay.
They're removing ranked 5v5s again, but the replacement to that is going to be basically old dynamic queue, and they're going to be two separate queues. Riot's not sure if it's going to work or not, and if it doesn't work, they're going to remove dynamic queue, bring back ranked 5v5s, but there is going to be that separate queue you and your friends can go into with its own layer of rewards that you can get, and you can play with your friends in different MMR brackets. Not too far, but if you and your friends, if that's your plan, then you guys should all be playing together anyway.
Gotcha. So it would be like there's ranked, which is strictly solo and duo,
right?
And then there's going to be another queue, which is still technically
ranked,
quote unquote ranked, but it's only going to be matching you with people that are 3s and 2s or potentially 5s as well.
Yeah. So then you know everyone here. There are going to be solo players because all queues need solo players, but you're most likely everyone's going to want to do voice comms.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to be trying to emulate things in LCS and get those macro and micro decisions up there. They're going to try to coordinate better. Everyone's looking for that experience coming into this queue.
Interesting.
So you can expect people to have Discord servers and they invite you, or Curse Voice, or Skype, or whatever.
Gotcha.
This is what's mostly going to be talked about in Champion Select now. Everyone wants to do these things.
Gotcha. And then that's kind of curious. I wonder if that's going to take over as being the more popular queue type, or if solo queue will still kind of reign dominant. I would assume solo queue would still be what would be considered like the higher level of competitive play, because I think most people just want to climb and not be reliant on others as much. Or I don't know. I think it could be interesting to see how it plays out in terms of which would gain more dominance.
I would say if you're doing well in flex queue, right, you're more of a good team player. And if you're doing well in solo queue, it can show that you're you're a better solo player. I think they'll both have their merits. But I will personally probably never play in normals with friends again if flex comes out, because most of my friends are very into competitive. So we'll probably just all jump into flex queue and play there, because why not give that queue more people? Why not play a serious environment? And if anyone wants to chill, or they want to have like a game where nothing matters, if we're as 5, then it's whatever, let's just do it. Or if we're as 5, or if we're less than 5 but people still want to dick around or whatever, okay, then we'll move to normals, not fuck up anybody's ranked experience for their awards or whatever. But I'll probably be playing a lot less normals.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what that's going to be in the preseason patch, you think?
Maybe. I honestly don't remember what their time frame was for it.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Overall player behavior patterns. This one is hard to. This one is kind of hard. From a jungle perspective, where the enemy jungler is and where they're going and what they should want to do,
Mm-hmm.
I just try to think of what I would do in their situation and where I would go, and or at least what's optimal for them to be going, or makes sense. Or if I have a ward and I see them, then I'm like, okay, they're gonna go from this camp to gank, or whatever. I'll either tell my laner to back off, or I'll tell them, hey, or I'll just be up there, and when the gank happens, I'll just be there and ready.
Yeah. So as like you said you main jungle, right?
Right.
So as a jungle main, like are you continually looking at the clock, seeing the timestamp and like identifying I know that if I was top side, assuming you're bottom, that at this timestamp that I would be at camp X if I was just doing like is that like a thought process that goes through your mind like while you're in the jungle?
I feel like at higher MMR they may use timestamps, but I use more feel of what I know. Like in the early game, I'll just look at okay. I don't really preface it with champions too much unless the enemy is like maybe a hard farmer or whatever, and maybe they want to hit level 4 or 5 before they do anything. Alright, maybe they just want to go for vision control. Those are the things I really will check with the jungler. But mostly I look at the laners. I
Okay.
look at who wins what matchup, where they're gonna be pushed, who should be doing how good, and then I'm like, okay, if I know this and they know this, or they'll be thinking about this, their first thought is going to be to gank, right?
Interesting. So like an example would be like if your bottom lane is doing well against their bottom lane and can be pushing up, your assumption is that the jungler is probably going to be making his way down there.
Depends. It's really a lot of extra factors. It's not
Okay.
as simple as my bottom lane's pushing, jungler should be down there. I mean, sometimes it can be that simple. It could be, okay, he recalled, my bottom lane's pushing, my bottom lane doesn't have vision, he might know that. They're gonna get dicked, I'm gonna make my way down there and just help them out.
Okay.
I'm gonna secure their vision. Sometimes it can be that simple, but sometimes it's like, sometimes just like, one of my thought process is, let's say the lane is Darius versus, anyone. Let me say Gnar, I guess.
Okay.
Looking at that, I'll think, okay, if Gnar's smart, he should be winning this lane. But if Darius is smart, then he'll be winning this, right? Based on that, because I have no idea what the player's personal skill is, nor do I care at all. I'll say, all right, I'll believe Gnar is gonna win the early game. Now let me look at their jungler. Are they a good ganking jungler? Okay. Then I look at what side of the map did they start on. Did his bottom lane get to there later or at the same time as mine? If I started bottom. If I started top, then I'm gonna be like, okay, if their bottom lane got there later, maybe they went for level 2 camp. Maybe they didn't go for level 2 camp. And then I'll check to see what time the enemy bottom lane hits level 2 to make sure if they got that camp or not. And then I'll know for sure what side the enemy jungler started on. Then I'll look for, okay, he started, let's say he didn't start top lane. Okay, he didn't start top lane. I'll predict his route as going for these jungle camps, right? Because of the champion he's playing. Then I'll go like, okay, he'll be top lane by the time I finish my route, or maybe my route plus Scuttle. Actually, Scuttle's part of my route. I just wanted to make it clear that I'm going there. So I'm like, okay, so he's going to gank now. Actually, so what I can do here is maybe instead of ganking top lane, because maybe I don't get too much out of the 2v2, or I feel we lose the 2v2, I can go top, I'll get a ward in the Tribe Rush, because my laner isn't going to do it, and then I'll go back and farm, or I'll gank middle. So then, as it plays out, the enemy jungler, maybe he does show top side, then I'm like, okay, I've got him, ping him back, but then I head straight to middle, and I get a gank there. And now he can't respond because he's all the way up there, and my top lane played safe. But let's say he doesn't appear up there. Then I can go and check his Wraiths. I can go see, okay, is his Wraiths here or not? If they are, he's most likely not around. He's either at Wolves getting that camp, base, or just generally not around. Right? I can extrapolate exactly where he is based off some more factors later. Then I can go for the mid gank. I go straight to the mid gank. Does it work or not? regardless, that will change my next couple of steps. But you can see it's more of a slow process. It's more of this happened, so this should happen.
Hmm.
Safeguards in place or myself in place to counter this. Then I can move for my own move here and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So you're still very cognizant of evaluating the jungler's position, and that is something as a jungler for your team that you're constantly evaluating.
Right. I'm trying to
Okay.
constantly see where he is, what he wants to do, so then I can change my playstyle. So that my playstyle is one of I want to make it so anytime the enemy jungler wants to go do something,
Hmm.
my team is already aware that he wants to go do it. Therefore, as long as they listen to the call to say back up, or I put a word down to confirm to them that it's happening,
Hmm.
they'll back off, and then I get to make my move elsewhere, and I get to
Gotcha.
have a nice advantage. In one of my games, I could probably find it, but basically, I figured out that the enemy jungler was topside through wards, right? And
Hmm.
I saw him move to the bottom side, and I was like, okay, I got this. Now, what I'll do here is I'll walk into his jungle. If there are wards here, he might be back. If not, then my bottom lane and mid lane have to be careful. My mid lane starts playing to the left side because I'm on the left side, so she properly plays to the side I'm on, so I'm faster to any reactions, and she can just go that way, and I can meet her up.
Okay.
I think it was a syndrome, is why I'm using her. So then he goes down to bottom. I make sure my bottom is careful. Now he shows himself bottom, right?
Hmm.
My top laner Yasuo was also already beating their Tryndamere. I prepped this ahead. I prepped this in advance. Let Tryndamere know. Let Yasuo know the plan. As soon as he showed bottom side, we went to top and we dived Tryndamere. He died.
Mm.
So then we
Okay.
started taking that tower. Now he's staying bottom side, and I know Drake is up. So he didn't kill my bottom lane, but now he's gonna go for Dragon.
Hmm.
Good move on his part to recover, but I'm already playing for the longer game. So we
Mm.
take top tower, and they
Hmm.
expect us to back off, but I'm still tracking him. My
Hmm.
bottom lane is making a ruckus down there because the mid laner roamed down to try to stop them for Dragon.
I see. So they
We
all converged
right.
on Dragon to try to
So,
contest it.
so then with that information, we kept pushing top lane. we were
Mm.
we started taking the top tower, and then Tryndamere decided he was going to fight us back because he felt he was safe. But I knew me and Yasuo had ultimate, so I pinged Tryndamere. Then started. I was playing Lee Sin, so we
Okay.
went in on him, kicked him away from the tower. Yasuo follows up with the ultimate. I almost
Mm.
died, but I have flash, so I'm expecting to almost die, but I know I can get out. So
Yeah.
get the kill on Yasuo. We take top tier 3 tower, and we
Oh
start
wow.
on the inhibitor.
Wow, that must have been early on in the game too.
It was around, I want to say somewhere around 20 minutes. But
Oh, okay.
basically, by the time they got up there, inhibitor was half dead. I got out. My Yasuo died, but it was fine.
Mm.
The inhibitor was half dead. My teammates didn't even know what happened. They were like, "What the hell happened top lane?" They weren't looking. All of top lane is destroyed. That lane can't be recovered in any way, shape, or form. And
Mhm.
now I can just play around mid and bottom lane if bottom lane is doing okay.
Mhm.
And Yasuo has a strong position top. Most likely I'll play off mid because Yasuo's close and can always help us if anything goes wrong or join in.
Mhm.
But basically, just by
Okay.
setting all these things up in advance and knowing this is what he wants to do, I was prepared to go ahead and sweep the board on his top side and just take everything.
Nice.
And later
Nice.
on, we returned for that inhibitor, and we eventually closed out the game.
Nice.
Now,
So you had a pretty good understanding that they were going to be so occupied down by Drake, and your team did. I mean, your team must have had some level of recognition, or maybe they just recognized that they wanted to contest the Drake and kind of keep them occupied, but that kind
right,
of gave you the window of opportunity to literally steamroll through top.
right,
And by the time they were able to react, or by the time they did react, it was just like damage was already dealt.
right. So my initial plan was just to take top tier 2. But
Yeah.
then, because of what happened, I reevaluated and kept going and kept taking things. So it's
Right.
always a constant reevaluation of what's happening, and then once I see, okay, this, punish here, okay, maybe this is too far. Like, the only reason me and Yasuo died is
Hmm.
because I didn't listen to that little voice in my head that said, hey, let's leave. We can come back for this inhibitor later. So Tom Kench got on me and Yasuo. It was a support
Hmm.
Tom Kench, but we were basically 300 HP.
Hmm.
So we fought it. Kited back. I made sure to get out of there because I still had board jump.
Mm.
Yasuo died, but we still got Tom and kept it moving.
Hmm.
And then we came back for the finish. But if I had listened, then we leave with all that gold and come back. They'd get no return gold, and
Right.
it's an even bigger punish.
Right, right. Do you, I mean, I imagine, I mean, this happens a lot in my ELO. I imagine it does in yours as too. But like when you recognize that you're in trouble or you recognize that even another lane is in trouble, you signal them to back. And then they simply don't listen. Like, so let's say you were up there with Yasuo, you tell them to back, and then all of a sudden, like you guys get caught. Are you just kind of cutting your losses at that time and you know that like you should just back out, or do you try to salvage and like make some good out of the mistake that he made?
Okay, so I would say almost always, if you know your team's gonna get fucked for something and you're sure of it,
Mm-hmm.
just walk away. Like, the biggest problem with when people tell, oh hey guys, let's back off from this position, is
Mm-hmm.
they never lead the change themselves. They'll mostly stick around close enough into the area that their team's like, oh yeah, he's still here.
Mm.
He's still gonna be following up. And it's a
Interesting.
bad
Yeah.
idea, but you haven't left yet because you feel like if you leave them, then they're all going to
Right.
die,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
But then that's where you need to leave them. People will follow you if you actually leave. And the ones that don't will then see, oh yeah, yeah, if I had respected the ping, then I would have just left and we all would have stayed alive. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll just realize, oh man, some people will go ahead and be like, oh no, if you just stayed, we had
Yeah.
that fight.
Exactly.
But at that point,
Exactly.
if you really truly felt that it was the right idea to do, then there's no it's no problem. It's just like
Right. Right.
you
It's no
knew,
harm in terms of
right,
making the right personal decision. It may
right,
have a negative impact on the team overall, but I mean that it's always the finger pointing at that point of just
right.
like if you would have stayed, we could have turned around and gotten the kill, and then
Right.
it's like
But
why
then
did
it's
you
like
leave?
if I stayed, then that, like
Yep.
if you stayed, then there's a good chance all of you would have died. But if I now that
Exactly.
I've left, only some of us have died, and I can still keep towers alive
Yeah.
and everything. So it's just, and most likely if it's really the right decision, people will follow. So you just have
Right.
to recognize the decision, go like, no, this is bad, and leave. But
Yeah.
and whether that's the right or wrong call can be
Hmm.
evaluated later. But if you're decisive and say, okay, I'm leaving, then
Hmm.
if it's truly the wrong call, most likely people will follow you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
if you really feel afterwards that, oh, maybe I did mess up,
Right.
then you can go back, you can
Look at the
replay the
replay.
game, right? And you can go ahead and be like, okay, all right, you know what? Maybe they were right because we did have summoners up, we had ultimates up, we had they were weak, and we could have finished this punish, and nothing bad would have come out of it because we knew where they all were and what they were bringing to the next fight, and we
Hmm.
could siege this tower because we had the minion wave coming up or whatever. Or maybe we were like, no, it really was bad. And maybe you'll find all these factors like we didn't have ultimate, this person didn't have ultimate, we didn't have our carry was low HP or whatever. Maybe you'll even find factors like you didn't notice before.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah. Yeah.
and you'll go like, oh, okay, it really was a bad idea, and now I know about all these other factors that I need to look out for in these type of situations to really evaluate if it's good or bad.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's something that I definitely have to learn. Like I always have that team mentality of like,
Mm,
all right, guys, even if I think it's a bad situation, it's like, guys, let's GTFO. Like we just got a double kill. Like we're all low. Let's
right.
back out. But then we're all riding on the high of like pulling off a successful
Yeah.
gank, and then it's like, oh shit, well they're staying in. Like I might as well try to get
Yeah.
some value out of their bad decision. So
And
I tend to like
And it's
stay
like
in with them.
things where it's like, oh, your team's all on Baron. And the Baron is low. If we only had a bit more time, we could take it. But someone's pinging off.
Right.
Oh,
right,
the enemy is closing in. But it's Baron.
Right. It's so low too. It's getting closer.
Right, and we can totally take this. But then you're like, oh, no, we can totally do it. And then you take it. You get
and then like
aced.
one person survives.
Yeah, you get aced or one person survives, and everybody's like, huh. These kind of gave them all that gold back and lost
They
a
get
couple
like
towers.
they get like 3 towers off of it, the 4 kills. It's like, maybe not worth.
And then one person on their mic is screaming that no one left. They most likely didn't leave themselves, but they're mad. They're furious. They're like, I knew that would happen. God damn it, solo queue. You did it to me again.
Yeah.
But if
That's
one
funny.
person just left and then other people followed, what if you just no one would have stayed?
Yeah.
As soon as even the tanks start leaving, go like, nah, I'm out. No carry. Or someone without smite is gonna continue doing a Baron that they're gonna die to in a 1v1. Like, they're gonna die to Baron in a 1v1 90% of the time. They're not staying.
Yeah, I always feel that like junglers tend to have like a bigger influence over the team in terms of those types of decisions, especially when it comes to objectives like Dragon or Baron, because it's like you really don't want to get caught doing Dragon without your jungler there, with the chance of it getting stolen and dying because you don't have a smite in your team. It's always sad when you get caught in those situations.
Yep.
All right, cool. So what did you want to go over next? I have a kind of an interesting idea, but I wanted to hear your perspective as well.
Let's see. Okay, so it's around 6:20 now, and I do have another session coming up. He's actually in the Twitch chat now. I don't know if he's still listening, but with extended time, we could review your game, like go straight into, like, have you do a game and then quickly review it, or maybe review a game you already have a replay of. I don't know if you signed up for replay.gg.
I did.
Okay,
but I don't have any particular game in mind. One thing
just
that
any game really is good to go over.
Any game, okay.
All right,
yeah.
So
that's
if
fair.
maybe 30 more minutes, then we could go over that if he's comfortable waiting. But if not, then we could set up another session where we can just maybe go into a game actively, look at mistakes, and I'll try to coach you through it, and then we will do a replay. But if not, but if he says it's okay, then we can just look at a replay right now. Let me see. If he's
sure.
still...
Yeah, it's up to you. I'll let you drive.
Yeah, let me message him.
Okay.
Did he add me on League? I don't think he added me on League yet.
Okay. One thing that I thought could be interesting is if you want to watch the World Games that's about to start and kind of get your commentary on like the decision making, like that could be interesting just to get your kind of stream of consciousness of what you think they're doing and why. While
that would be probably informative, I feel it'd be doing you a disservice because the level of decision making and why is still above my elo. Still very
Gotcha. At first, I thought you were going to say it was above my elo, and I'm like, what the fuck? You don't think I could handle it? But that makes more sense. No, I'm just kidding.
Headphones messed up. Hello?
Oh. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes? Say something again?
Test.
Okay. Yeah. It's too above my elo to really point out everything that should be pointed out. And I'm going
That's fair.
I'm going to miss a couple of key things.
Okay. All right. So you want to do, if you have time, we can do a gameplay review, or we can reschedule if you have another commitment.
All right, I think she's messaging me on League now.
Okay.
You see.
Are you streaming on Twitch right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
At twitch.tv Kaloshade1.
Kaloshade1. Okay, cool. I did not know that.
I try to stream decently regularly. I haven't had time, like, basically this past week because of basically, like, just some school things really, and then all of the coaching sessions that I'm trying to take care of now. So I'm mostly just
Word.
streaming the coaching sessions for now.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll follow you for sure.
All right, thanks, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Am I logged in? Follow. Boom. Wait, this is not you.
There's Kaloshade and there's Kaloshade 1, like the number 1.
And you're Kaloshade 1?
Yes. The other Kaloshade, we get this a lot. People go to his channel when they're looking for
Okay.
mine, or my channel when they're looking for his.
Gotcha. All right, I got it here.
Okay, so he was comfortable with waiting till, 4 p.m. for him, but 7 p.m. for us.
Cool.
7 p.m. EST at least. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
EST or PST or anything.
Yeah, I'm West Coast, but I got you.
Okay. All right, so let's find a game.
Okay.
Let me do a couple of things. Let me start screen sharing so you can see everything.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I should have done this earlier. Yeah.
All good?
I'm still a little new to coaching. This is only my second session.
I'm new to receiving coaching. All good. So far, so good.
All right, let's see. Let's just put this up. Where is... Man, this friends list has been really screwy. Okay. It's deleted my group for people I've coached twice now.
That's lame.
Yeah, it's really, really annoying. Okay, this is the Jayce custom game. This is the...
That's just unranked.
Let's see if I can find the 865
Yeah.
Jayce game. Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
What made you pick up an interest in coaching?
I've personally always had an interest, even from when I started League. Not really like this, but like just trying to give people tips wherever they go wrong. I just like doing it. Whenever my friends would be having trouble in solo queue, I'd offer them to help. Reception wasn't always great, and then when I started streaming maybe a year ago, I decided, oh hey, streaming's fine. Maybe I can just teach people things while I play the game. And then I decided, let me actively advertise coaching on the stream. So usually I'll, I haven't had anyone sign up yet because I'm very, very much unknown. But I put it down at the bottom first that I was gonna do for donations. I'll do the stream. So like for $5, I'll do a review or something, and stuff like that. And there obviously wasn't like too much reception to that. So then I hit like Diamond 5 like a week ago, and I was like, you know what? Because I'm always on r/summoner school, right? Just looking up stuff there. I made a post that I'll do free coaching because I hit Diamond 5 and everything's cool. And then it got taken down because they had their whole coaching and mentoring thread. So to funnel everything there. So I was like, you know what? That actually looks really, really cool. So I'll just do that. I'll just put my name down in there. I wasn't expecting as big of a response as I got. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's just scheduling is an issue now, so I'm just trying to schedule everything properly.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, when scheduling's an issue, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, as long as I can keep up with it and make sure everything goes well.
Yeah.
So let's focus in on you.
Let's do it.
Can you see everything properly?
I can see you ready to paste some command prompt stuff in.
Oh, so you can't see League right now?
I cannot see League.
Okay. Let me... I am on Borderless. Put to windowed. Maybe see if that helps. Can you see League now?
nothing yet. In Skype, it just shows
Alright, I know what I'll do. I will end screen share.
Alright.
Is that better?
It doesn't seem. It just shows. No, it shows the same thing. I'm not seeing any update
Okay.
in Skype.
Let me see.
And it still shows that you're screen sharing.
Right.
Or at least I still see your screen.
Let me stop sharing and then start it up again.
Boom. Okay.
And this is League. Let me just click this.
Yes, now I see League.
Now you see League.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know how it got to 26 minutes into the game, but
nice.
okay. So is the frame rate fine? You can see everything clearly enough?
Yeah, it's probably around like 15 to 20, but at least it'll give me a good enough idea of what's going on.
Okay. I just noticed that blue team spawns before red team. Did not know.
Oh,
that was
that's
a thing.
funny. That's funny.
Okay. Yeah, hello. We already typed in League, so yeah, I was just asking if you were there in chat earlier. He's in the chat right now. So let's just go with this. So you let me rearrange this. I'm sorry. It just bothers the hell out of me.
No worries. I know. I wish they would auto arrange that based on the roles. I think they said they were going to make an update that would do that, but
yes, this is very much
so annoying.
In patch notes, it was actually saying that they were doing it this patch, but it was actually a mix-up, and it's coming in next patch.
Gotcha.
So they had it ready, but it didn't go past their testers fast enough to make it into this patch.
Gotcha.
So they didn't actually turn it on, but it's probably there in the code. Let's see. Yeah, I think everyone's in order. Okay.
Right.
So
yeah, I think I remember what happened with this game now. I think Rumble just got out of control. But let's see it evolve.
So it's the start. Speed this up. Oh, let me make sure it tracks you. Just 8 times speed, because there's not really anything that's gonna happen here. Okay.
This is some pro pre-game positioning here by me. Just immaculate, if you ask me. Look at that.
Honestly, this is basically fine. If anything, maybe you wanna like, unless you feel like you might die, maybe place an early game ward for your jungler so this doesn't get invaded or something. I mean, that's the most of what you can really do. The ward timing is a little tricky because you need to make sure your ward is up for around 3 or so minutes in lane.
Yeah.
So that you can, especially if you're, at least if you're being aggressive, so that your ward is then up again at that time.
Right.
That's some of the future planning you want to make sure that you have.
I think this was definitely a case of like, let me get into lane. I need to alt tab and like finish writing the email that I'm writing, and then I'll like tab back in, which is not good for playing ranked. But
yes, try to make it when you're playing ranked that it's your only focus. Even in champion, I mean, I tend to like not look at champion select until until I need to select my champion. But that's not really a good habit. It's far better that you know what's happening in the pick ban phase. You see what your teammates are typing, so that you're involved in everything. And especially if they're having a discussion, sometimes these pre-games discussion can be good. If someone's asking you to like what should they play.
Right.
Your first answer should just always be whatever you're more comfortable on, and then second answer, if they say I'm comfortable on both, I would choose the tankier champion or whatever fits best for the team comp, in your opinion.
Agreed. Cool.
Right. Okay. But then let's see. They're just going through it. Minions spawn. They run down the lane. You're back, and let's focus on you again.
Let's watch the magic happen. Boom, look at that harass. Okay. So pro.
Alright, let me back up a bit. Ah, camera's all off. Hold on. I don't want to like jump back too far and then this whole thing gets screwy.
Weird.
Sometimes if you mess with this timeline directly, you'll just completely fuck up the UI. Okay,
weird.
So good starting harass. This minion now comes all the way over here because looking to aggro you.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is semi-weird. It's not weird positioning, but I think it could be more optimal here. Actually, let me grab EpiPen. Should have had this open earlier. There it is. Move this over here. Are you colorblind at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so blues, greens, red, yellows, all of those work out for me.
All delicious colors for me.
Okay. Can you see this? This blue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just make the pen size smaller. I guess this is good. Okay. So here, what you can do, right? Instead
Mhm.
of staying behind these 3 minions here, and essentially losing, what is it? Oh my god, I can't really move. Okay, here. Essentially losing the small pressure you had on Riven in the beginning. You're ranged, so you can stand. You can more stand here, or over here, right? And this way you can actively look to CS these 3 minions and harass Riven while still getting this minion here.
Okay. Interesting.
What is it? Control Shift 7. Hate these hotkeys. Need to change them. Alright. So let's just play up. That's just a small thing, but just like to press the advantage you can get.
Totally.
Alright. This looks fine. Okay, you got the nice harass, but you missed the minion. So when you went for the harass, you gotta always think what you're giving up. And at this level, this early, the first 6 minions can be very important, especially towards gold and like how the lane's gonna play out for a couple minutes. So if you're going to miss that minion, you want to be very careful. You want to have gotten that minion and got harass on Riven, or just get the minion.
Okay.
It's very important to make sure you properly CS the first couple minion waves as great as good as you can.
Okay.
So we keep playing. So this is fine. Okay, she came in. Okay, so here she came in. She dashed completely into your range. So let's jump back 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think what I was thinking here is I was nervous that she was going to go full forward towards me.
Right.
And then saw that she pulled out, so that's why I started to move and try to pursue her.
Now, here, if you know she's coming in, you have 2 minions right next to you, so they'll be adding to your damage, right? These minions are ranged, so they can add to hers, but you're behind here. If anything, you can Shock Blast, hit her and this minion, or Shock Blast after she hits this minion, and get that extra harass onto her. But you just have to think about it, like, okay, I need this minion. Riven's going to come in for this one. You can see her you saw her pathing towards it, and you changed your movement pattern because she was coming up. But you do have an advantage here. She's missing around 100 HP. You have Hammer Form, so you have 2 spells, and she has to burn. She was going to burn a Q or something at least to get this minion here, and you're ranged. So that all of those advantages play out into your favor.
Okay.
So she pulls up, and right here you probably could have autoed this, Shock Blasted her, got some damage off, and if she had stayed, then you go Hammer Form, you wreck her shit.
Gotcha.
Let's just move up. Don't want to spend too much time on the lane. Oh, that's a trade. That's a trade. Gotta go back for those. That one right there. I think trade's right here.
Yeah, I think she comes in aggressively here again for minions.
Right, and then you punish her properly. Nice. Get Thunderlords off. Then you run in. Then you go for the brush, and you.
Yeah, we do this little dance. I remember this. This was fun.
Right. So this, you don't want to do that because, what are you, level 1? Yeah, you're level 1. This is bad only because you have nothing to follow up on.
Right.
Yeah, you have nothing to follow up with. It's fine because this time the enemy junglers aren't on your side. So this is all
Mhm.
fine. This is just fine and dandy. But you only needed to hammer farm her, get Thunderlord's proc, and you just go back to CSing. So
Okay.
then she gets a little thing on you. You auto attack her. That's good. And then you go back as soon as possible, though. Yep. Okay, you switch back to range. That's good. Nice. She's playing this very terribly.
I don't think she was that good this Riven.
She's playing Riven in low elo. Yeah, that's a clear sign. Okay, auto attack, nice. Nice. Alright, good. You're going for the harass every time
Yeah.
you get it. The minion wave is behind you, so you're ready. So you're good because you have this huge minion wave to help you with any trades. And then her minion wave comes up, and you immediately go into the crash. This is actually very nice.
Yeah, I pulled aggro from the minions, so I just wanted to drop that as quick as I could.
Most people will forget, to run into the brush really fast to go to drop the aggro. So it's good you're doing these things. You do have
Cool.
a lot. You do have a lot of knowledge on what you want to do here, and you're playing the lane pretty. You're playing the lane really well right now.
Cool. Yeah, so my idea now is just try to actually, now since I hit 3, then I can generate mana with my hammer form attack, so I was just trying to recoup some lost mana.
Okay.
And now
All
I
right.
think I'm going to ward.
This is a
Just
good ward.
because I was pushed up.
Right, pushed up, and it's 3 minutes or so. So at that time, really want to get that ward down, especially if your jungler's not on your side to help with any counter ganks. He's not even gonna actually look up here for a regular gank because it's so pushed in. So unless he has the presence of mind to know that you're getting an advantage here, let me wait or get you scuttle so you're more protected, or wait up here in this brush for a counter gank. Unless he has that presence of mind, then you're on your own in this 1v2 situation. But Rumble's all the way down here because he did camp straight. He just did this line here of these 3 camps. I don't. I've never played Rumble jungle, but I guess if he's keeping it safe, then this is fine. You missed that, but you get the auto attack.
Yeah.
The lane. Okay. So right here, it's good that you're not actively pushing the minion wave in, because the lane is frozen. Let me get goddamn pen nonsense.
Okay. So now I'm not actually too familiar with what it means, the lane being frozen. Is it just that another wave came up and they're equal on both sides?
It's basically equal, or it's not going to push very fast, right?
Okay.
So the lane is right here. You have more minions, right? But some of them are back here. Only a few of them are up here. The lane is going to be in this position for a good amount of time. So you have a large amount of time to just to punish Riven for being here and to make it so she can't get CS. But you backed off a little here. I don't remember why, and it lets her probably pick up, I would say, these 3 minions.
Okay.
Even if she does pick up these 3 minions, this lane is going to stay here for longer then. So now let's go to the next. Let's continue going. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, we have like 18 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get through this pretty decent.
Sure.
Okay, that's good. Punish. You're not actively trying to push the lane. You are a little bit because of your spell. You are pushing the lane because of your spells, but it's okay. Maybe you could have gotten a heavier punish here, but you've got it. You punished decently enough. You have your ward. You're looking at the map. You're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, speed through this. Some more punish. Rumble goes to thing. Let's see, when is your ward going down? You've got like, I want to say, I don't know exactly how much extra time this word's gonna give you. I want to say you only have a couple. You don't have too
30
long
seconds.
left. Yeah, you don't have too long left. She's asking for help, but she's already getting dicked on. I think your ward is up because that thing is still bugged in spectator client.
Yeah. So here comes,
he comes
Rumble.
Up, and you see him, so you were ready. You should have probably been pathing away a little faster, but this is okay. You're pathing away.
I see that his health is low too, so I'm
Right.
not too worried.
Yep. So he's gonna try to come up here. If he might try to go this way, but if he knows anything, he's gonna try to go straight this way to cut you off. Riven's gonna come in here for the stun. Maybe she hits the stun, then he repaths to here. But essentially, they have to catch up to you, and you're already making a beeline out of there. So this is pretty good. So
Okay.
the lines. Back to this. Alright, and you shock blast him. That's actually really smart because he's low, so you can shock blast him. You know you can 1v1 Riven. You hit even with just hammer form. You hit damage onto him, and now he's gone. He wants no part of this. It is actually very good, a very good laning phase you're playing right now.
Cool.
Then you go ahead onto her. This is a tower dive. All right, I gotta address that.
No good.
No,
Flash in the tower, I think I did.
Okay, so everyone's pissed. She's mad. He didn't come up here and help. He's upset because she didn't look at the obvious back off. You jump onto her, right? Hit her. This is where this ends.
Okay.
Right? Unless you're deciding right now, right here, as soon as you got that auto attack off, unless your next move is flash auto attack, this is where this ends. Because you didn't decide quickly to flash auto attack. Well, you did. Oh, you did. Nice. And then you got stunned. When you got stunned, then that's where that ends. You just leave. It's really not worth it to take all this extra damage when Rumble is still technically over here, right? He's still over there. You don't know. This tower dive here could have kind of went either way.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go back a little again. Speed through this. Let's say she W'd here, auto attacked you, or wait, does she have spells up?
She popped her stun, and I think her shield was down because she just used it.
All right, let's say she W's there and flashes to get away from your auto attack. Then, the flashes before you auto attack, so you can't auto attack, but she didn't. Then you take all this punishment, and you have to push this out, and then you're down a flash, she's down a flash, and it's okay. But had she auto attacked you, there's a really high percent chance you die. It's just too risky for not enough payoff. Regardless, if you got the kill, so you get a huge punishment on her. But even if you didn't get the kill, you get to go back, you get to do this entire thing again. You come in with way more items because you're up 10 CS. Plus, you're going to get these couple creeps here. She's going to miss this entire minion wave. She's going to have to burn teleport when you can just walk back. You're going to get so many advantages. So this is one of those moments like at the Baron and when your team is grouped somewhere and you don't feel you should be. Where, yes, if you pull this off, you're the hero. Right?
Right.
But if you don't pull this off, there's so much egg on your face. Yeah, it's just so bad. I wouldn't go for this. I wouldn't go for this play. Plays like this need to be highly calculated, and you did good in it. You got off everything you needed to do, right? You flashed when you needed to flash. You were very decisive in that. It's just the amount of risk here versus the reward. I would say is not. Is not great.
It's totally fair. Yeah, it's totally fair. I agree with that. I think it's a very high risk play, and it could have either gone it could have gone either way. And if it did go in Riven's favor, then it wouldn't have negated any advantage that I had.
Right. So then you get back, you do this, you leave base slow. Leave base kind of slow. Not too slow, but it's not that big a deal. But you try to increase the amount of time, how fast you get out of base. Yeah. Try to look at how much gold you're going back to and start doing math in your head. I have this much gold. These are my item. These are the amount of gold that my items cost. This is what I want, and get out of there fast.
Gotcha.
So you only wasted a little bit of extra time, but she's farming all these minions. You weren't gonna get here for time for this anyway. but you probably would have been maybe here-ish. I want to say, just a bit more ahead.
Sure.
And every little thing can count.
Yeah. One thing that's odd is I do not see your mouse, but I do get the general concept.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but you would have been like at your tower at that point. You
Gotcha.
can't see my League mouse?
No, but I can see like the hover effects of the units that you hover over, so it's kind of funny.
Okay. That's... Huh.
Yeah, it's odd. I'm not sure why, but anywho.
Okay, so then you come back, and you start pushing this back. Okay. Little thing here. You fought her in a minion wave. You're losing. Well, not you're losing. I guess you won, but at the same time you took a shit ton of damage because you fought her in
the minion wave. Yeah.
So
now I know. So I think I was over aggressive here, knowingly that she wasn't 6, and did not want to. I wanted to kind of force her out of lane prior to her getting 6. I think was my mentality.
All right. Oh, nice shot.
Thanks.
Really nice shot. All right. So your next move here should be to push in the wave all the way. Pop maybe a couple, maybe like up 2 more, like one more, one more potion, so you can stay in the lane for longer, or so.
Okay.
Or maybe even go base and then have your teleport. So you should pick up all these minions here. Your farm is going pretty well. You're not missing too much of anything. You missed.
I missed that one.
It's okay.
Yeah, I missed a lot there.
But you're pushing in decently fast. You probably could have pushed this in faster though.
Okay.
She walked all the way back to lane and didn't miss a single creep.
Okay.
So you want to try to get that fast push going on, especially since he has no teleport, so that she misses all these creeps, the experience, everything. But
gotcha.
You've got her back down to your health, actually lower than your health, and you still have potions and the advantage. So this is great. You have a ward. I think Zinjiao placed this ward, but let me check. No, it was you. Okay, so good.
Okay.
You have a ward here. Fine. Okay, killed her. It was good.
Yeah, she was just over aggro at that point, and I think I knew I had the advantage.
And then you punish, get the next wave. She's asking for more help, but you have wards. Also, I would buy pink wards here. Yeah. You want to pink this Tribe Rush so that you know for sure if you're getting ganked. That'd be the one big criticism I have here. With your extra gold, there was a chance to buy. You did have the money to buy. You bought 3 potions. You could have bought 1 potion. Pink ward, played accordingly. But you're still doing very well in this lane. That's just a smaller thing. So let's see.
Gotcha.
Where does this game go wrong? Because it seems fine right now.
Yeah, I think bottom, if I believe, has a rough start, and then their jungler snowballed really hard at some point. I don't remember when exactly, but I do remember. Oh yeah, here I get caught.
Right. Okay. So he gets the kill on you. So that's a
so
large amount of gold.
Yeah, that was bad. I remember I was going to ward the try because I knew that the jungle could be coming up here, and I think I die again really quick here, assuming that jungler left. Went to go ward again,
and then you die.
Yeah, which is
so he properly punished. He properly punishes you once, notes that you don't have flash, sticks around, gets a second punish. Don't face check brushes.
Yeah.
Use that shock blast. Make sure that brush is clear. Don't face check anything.
Totally fair.
So without these 2 kills, Rumble doesn't start his snowball. He got a huge kill because you were very much ahead. So you got that huge shutdown, and then he killed you again, allowing Riven to recuperate this farm disadvantage. And now she has 2 assists.
Yeah.
So that's... I don't know.
It's no bueno.
Yeah, it's no bueno. Like, this could have been a lot different. But your team is still 8-2. This is their first 2 kills. It could be worse. But it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There's a fight down here.
Yeah.
Alright, you choose... You don't have teleport. Okay, fine. Riven went down there, though, so she got...
It was, I think, a 2 for 3 trade? Or did they not even...
1 for 3. 1 for 3.
1 for 3.
Yes. So, I don't know if you pinged that your lane was missing. Let's look back.
I don't think I did.
No, it doesn't look like. Yep. No pings that your lane is missing. You didn't roam down, and there looked to be dragon activity. I don't know if your team said, "Hey, we're gonna go for dragon," or they pinged it or anything. But you didn't roam down at your advantage.
I think I was probably tilting that I just got killed twice in top lane, wanted to
Right.
go back and farm.
Right. But let's see. What's your response here? The team goes down completely. They
I
get
try
the
to
Inferno
push.
Drake. Yes. Alright, you're pushing. Damn. That rings out very. Okay. Why can't I switch the thing to you? Okay, there it is. So you go for this tower. They tell you to back off. This should be first tower gold. Nice. Then you go down. You get Scuttle. Okay, Scuttle here. It's not bad. I mean, I thought you were gonna go back to your lane, but you went to group up with your team.
Yes, my thought here is, okay, I clearly got my lane tower down. Now I want to try to help push the pressure mid and see if we can make that a pressure point for the enemy team to defend it.
Right. Okay. See, the issue I think here is what Rise has good wave clear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you want to take these things into account whenever you plan a siege or anything. Rise has good wave clear, is full HP. Yes, your team is here, but unless you're planning to dive him, I think he defends this tower.
Okay.
Which he eventually does because you guys don't end up actually getting the tower. Then you and Jayce go, you and Zin go top. You get a kill on Riven. No reason to watch that. It was clean or not, the kill's happening. We're looking at the overall focus. You help Zin go in to the enemy jungle. Punish. This is good. This should probably be a rumble kill here. Let me slow it down.
Yeah, I think this was a fight. I'm not sure how it played out, but I think a little bit of an engagement happened here.
Okay, let's see. Going out, you shoot the shock blast back. Doesn't it might have connected. I'm sorry, I didn't look at the HP bar.
I think it might have. This is where the fight breaks out, I believe.
Okay, so Rise got stunned up, just fine. You guys are looking for it. You don't see an advantage just yet, but Morgana's still going. She goes for flash engage.
Yeah.
And you guys come around looking to back her up. She's going down, but she's got the stuns, and you properly punish.
I think I flashed in for that.
Okay. Let's see, where do you guys go now? Their team is mad. People start basing. And okay, this is fine because their bot lane roamed up to mid. So this is a fine take. I mean, there's also the possibility of you guys going. If they didn't roam up, you guys could have went to mid, blasted it down. But you went for Void to, I guess, extend your dominance since it should go onto you.
And I think Riven gets the kill here, and then we kind of disengage. Or she doesn't get the kill.
I would not have disengaged here. I would have just kept going. Also, next time when you and your jungler are doing this, try to take some hits for them. Because with how low they were, just if the enemy comes in and tries to kill, it can be a problem.
Right.
I would just
try to distribute the health as much as possible.
Yeah, so both of you get out with decent HP. So now here you went straight back to mid lane, but I don't see the point. I mean, they're caught out-ish, but they're just gonna leave. I mean, if anything, these three can go to mid, but you have this nice wave coming up here, and you can clear this out and maybe catch another base. Especially with all the gold you guys have. You're trying to push the advantage, but at the same time, like, your team doesn't need you for this. This wave is gonna get cleared. They can back these guys off. Vayne is coming up from bottom. Your team definitely doesn't need you here, and top lane does require your attention. So this is gonna be a chase down. I don't expect anything to come from it unless Vayne gets a solid flank. Get onto MF, slow it down. Alright.
I missed the blast there.
And everyone starts dying. MF gets a free double. You get the kill onto her. Right, but there should have been no fight here. It should have been a clean. We walk in, clear the mid lane, you go to top, they respect, and everyone's fine. MF should never have gotten 2 kills.
Okay.
Because the amount of chase that happened. You guys had to go all the way from mid, come over here.
Mhm.
Alistair had to burn. No, he didn't burn flash. He had to burn exhaust just to get onto her and everything. And then it's just it could have been you get the simple top tower. I mean, you
Right.
get blue buff, you get blue, get another kill, but Riven is still farming. She's still moving around the map trying to play her own game. This lane, you and your jungler should just come in, try to get vision control of here with pink wards and regular wards, and then you guys can start making plays for this. Or when this is pushed in, then you can roam the map. But if this isn't properly pushed in, then this is just going to congregate up here, and you're going to take a lot of tower damage.
Okay.
So then you guys go in here, and top lane's still pushing in. They go to fight on you like they should.
Now this is one of the situations where I just backed out knowing that my team
Right.
was fucked.
Which is fine. I mean, you knew your team was fucked. But again, like, these type of
Shouldn't
things
have been there anyway.
Right. So now you're probably
Nice.
going to lose top tower. This wave is going to be massive. You might just lose top tower straight off of that. You're gonna lose mid tower here. They shouldn't really go for a second one. I would personally not recommend anyone go for a second one. But then they sweep up the top side and go straight for your top tower, because Riven knows this is low as hell and she can take it. There's no response because you have to stick here and defend mid.
Mhm.
So you see how like one play where one wrong decision can cascade into so many other bad decisions.
Totally.
The whole, you guys go into their jungle, you get fucked up, they get tons of kills. I think they actually killed every single member on your team, swinging a lot of gold back to them. Now the game is even, and it's only 13 kills to 10 kills. They got a tower mid lane, so that's one tower they get back, and they're gonna get a top lane tower, a tower they should have never have gotten until far later into the game, when it was just completely free for them to take. But it's 17 minutes. The advantage you guys have, this shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, their jungler is getting huge as well, and MF is pretty fucking huge. So you TP up to stop this. She gets a lot of farm. Okay, you don't get this tower, but the TP had to be burned to save this.
Yeah.
Zin is blowing flash.
And this is a long chase too. I remember
this. Is a long chase? Oh no, I would have just gave it up. Do you guys get her?
I think we do get the kill, but I think I dive. It's not good
my
times.
god, yeah, this is horrible. Oh my god, Alright, you got the kill, and now you're running out, going for 2. Yeah, and you got shut down again. It's
Way too deep, I assume.
way too deep. Could have just gotten your CS, shoved her out of lane. She's 1 in 6. Her missing any of these creeps is completely devastating for her. Like, just shove this wave down. She has to go back. Your jungler is still on this side of the map. You guys can get vision control. Buy pink wards. You're not buying any pink wards. That's very bad. I mean, you've only been to base like what, twice or so, but you need to buy these pink wards. Go back to base for them, if anything, to create vision advantages to keep your lane dominance up.
Agreed.
And so that you can roam freely without having to worry about so much. So it's less of... I really don't feel like the enemy jungler really did anything spectacular to get these advantages. Like, he's 4-3 now. Because 3 of the kills, I think, came from you. I believe so. Like, 3 of the kills or so came from you. And, like, it was just, hey, you guys were there in a bad position. Let's punish. Now they get mid lane, and your team can't stop that, because there's no one there to defend. This is a whole huge fight, which your team shouldn't be taking. They should just back off. MF is huge, and he gets 2 more kills. And now look, because of a few things, no proper punish on keeping top lane down, the game cascaded, and everything went to shit so fast.
Yes, it did.
Rumble is 6-2. Riven is basically a stun bot, which she's totally happy of being, because she's got 8 assists. She never has to personally deal with you, so that's okay for her. Rise is gonna scale regardless. He scales way better than Misfortune. then MF is just gonna do so much better than Vayne just based off of mechanics. Like, Vayne has so much to deal with, while MF just, presses ult. She's done this like 3 times now. Presses ult and gets a double kill. Oh no, twice now. When she has assists, their team is ramping up. Like, looking at your team, you have some late game, some mid game, early mid game, still some late game potential, but it is really good in the early middle especially, and then late if he gets a lot of damage and does it properly. Late, middle, I would say, because a lot of picks, mid to late. And then Xin Zhao just scales like a monster for the late game. So, like, besides you, right? Because Alistar isn't going to be making plays with Vayne early game. He's not trying to fuck around with that. Especially with the enemy Janna, and they're just going to kite away. It's this entire early to mid was basically on you. And you had the lead, but it wasn't pushed. You need to get these vision advantages. You need to keep the laners down and make sure you get these towers. There's no reason that this tower should have no damage on it. There's no reason that this tower shouldn't have any damage on it. This Drake should be your guy. This Drake should be yours. They shouldn't have as many kills as they have. Yes, this thing in the mid is nothing to do with you because you weren't even there. I'm just saying, like, all these things, a lot of these things are allowed because of bad decisions that were made. Like, if they ran this way, right, and went on to MF, if you weren't there, maybe if you just ping them off, maybe if you weren't there and you ping them off from going that way, everything resets. MF doesn't get 2 kills. You don't overstay. Rumble doesn't get any more extra shutdowns.
Right.
And things are just fine.
And I could have farmed up top and could have denied Riven a little bit more.
Yeah, and you could have had a lot more gold too. And your tier would have probably been a little bit more stacked because you have been using abilities especially. And you guys jump in on Rumble. You get Rise, which is fine. Let's see what the punish is here. They stole Dragon right from under you with no jungler.
Janna and MF took it.
Yeah. There was no sweep. I mean, this is heavily on Xin Zhao, but this is heavily on him too because, like, he's a jungler. He should have
just went for Dragon.
He should be knowing, like, hey, Dragon's going down. We should at least, like, check that. Or if we're not gonna check that, I guess going for this play, if you decided, hey, let's not check that because they're there. But I don't even know if you guys were aware of that. It doesn't look like you were at all because right afterwards you go to farming and he goes for more chase down.
Yeah, I don't even think we were. We had no vision directly on the route to Dragon.
Yeah.
Only up by our blue.
And then now Morgana, like, why are you headed to bot? Like, there's nothing for you here except for a couple creeps. And then there's this whole top lane that was pushing. You gotta be aware.
Where do you so, like, after the kill mid, where would you recommend, like, the best position? Should just back at this point and try to help out one of the other lanes because the bottom's too pushed in.
Let me see how much gold you have. So you have, bring it back. See, this is around here is where you get the kill mid. You're about to go in for it. You see, you should be okay. So top lane is pushing against you, so this is fine. The play happens mid. This is a kill. Then you're farming in mid. Okay,
and then I see that Dragon goes down, and I think my thought here is let's try to get some more vision down by Dragon or down by their bottom jungle side. But I'm not sure if that's the right decision to make at this point.
Okay, here is a couple of things. This is like habits that I see people do. So you should be watching Riven that she's pushing this, and you should have headed up there. There's no reason for you to try to gain vision control on their bottom side right now because there's nothing for you. There's no CS wave. There's no chance of tower take. Dragon went down, so there should be no reason you're going over there. Like all of these things, like there's absolutely nothing for you bottom right now. So going there is a huge mistake, especially when top lane's pushing. And then
That's
Morgana
fair.
has to burn TP because they took her lane farm, and so she can get some farm back. Then you get vision control of bot side, wasting wards. But it's like, it doesn't matter because there's nothing gonna happen bot. And you get mid. Now you're at 1.3k gold with no base. So it's just like, it's just better. It's just, these are the things you have to look for. You have to look for what, if I do this, what does that lead to? Am I actually getting an advantage? Is it actually benefiting the team? Is it, if we go to mid lane, what am I giving up? Am I giving up lots of top farm? Like, you haven't farmed your own lane in forever, actually. Yeah, I think the last time.
I think it's been some time since I've been up there.
Right, and actually, you haven't. You've done it. You haven't even farmed it since that last Riven kill, and I think in that last Riven kill, you only took a few minions on your lane. You guys might have actually just gone straight on her and then done that whole terrible chase.
Right.
So you haven't been up here in forever. She's took the CS lead back from you. Makes no sense. So if you get these advantages, you need to press them.
Okay.
You need to understand, like, we're at the stage of the game where you understand how to get an advantage, right? But you don't know how to roll with an advantage. You need to know, you got to get that vision. You got to make sure this lane stays down. If I'm roaming, I better be cool with giving up whatever. I better have that lane pushed in so that I'm not giving up all these creeps. That wave is just going to crash into tower, and the max thing I'm giving up is maybe some tower damage. But I'm okay with that because I'm going to help my team. And the reason I'm going to help my team is because I know what I want to get on the other side of the map. And I have a plan to get it. I'm not just roaming for roaming's sake. I have a plan.
Okay, so it sounds like the mentality that I really should have employed here is once I started gaining the advantage top, I should have pressed that advantage further, gain more control of their vision, control of their jungle, farm it, and if I do choose to regroup with my team anywhere else, it should be for an objective like in a tower or dragon, rather than just trying to get whatever we can out of any fight. And definitely a lot of dives here that are not valuable, especially if I come out dying on top of it.
See, this is why in League people will say kills mean nothing. Because kills by themselves do nothing for you except for give you more gold. It's what you do with the gold and what the advantages you get to further take down the Nexus. Because it's not a W until their Nexus explodes for whatever reason. So everything you do has to be further of, get this objective. So it's easier to take down these towers, to get into that base and explode the Nexus. If you're not thinking clearly about these things, it's not going to work out.
Okay, that's fair.
All right. So that's what I'll leave you left. Because you played that lane like really, really well. There was a hint of over-aggression when you dived around tower, but it worked out. Maybe your positioning in lane at the start, that little thing I commented on, could have been a bit better, but it didn't impact the lane too heavily. At least from what I saw. And it could have been a lot better.
Gotcha. But, so I could have probably been more satisfied with less kills from roaming down towards mid and just pushing the lane top, getting more CS, having a huge CS advantage, and having vision control of top.
Yes.
Seems like that's the takeaway from this match.
Right. You probably would have gotten less kills in this match if you didn't roam with your team or whatever, right? But but this top lane tower, I'm fully confident that if you press the side, Rumble now has to either abandon all hope this side, right? Or he spends so much time up here, which you won't get anything because you have the wards to keep yourself safe. He spends so much time up here that now your bot lane can just farm up, your mid lane can farm up, and your jungler can either help you make sure these towers go down, or just help wherever. That Inferno Drake would have went to you guys, because I'm pretty sure the enemy got it. You wouldn't have lost water. You wouldn't have lost Ocean Drake, and everything would have been fine.
Yeah, so it sounds like if I would have pushed my dominance over top harder, it would have put more pressure on the jungle to help try to alleviate that. And if I took good countermeasures to do so, then I wouldn't have been punished for pushing that in. And trying to dominate that lane. Yeah, I mean that makes total sense.
And the last thing I want to say was what was it? So this is why junglers, like, the number one advice we give to other junglers is don't press the lanes where you don't have an advantage. Press your advantages. Gank winning lanes.
Mm,
Like, it doesn't make too much sense because junglers take pressures off. Yes, give pressure to your other sides at times. This is something junglers have to learn to keep the balance. Give pressure to your other lanes at times, right? So
hmm
it's not like you're completely not on that side. But
Right.
press your advantages. If you and Zin coordinate, like, there's no way they win the 2v2.
hmm
Right? Especially with the lead you have. There's no way they win the 2v2. There's no way this tower still stands. They have to bring even Rise even to get anything from you guys. If they bring Rise, Morgana pushes mid, this tower can go down very fast. And your bot lane basically their only job is Alistar needs to roam and Vayne needs to farm. That's it. Like,
hmm
they're basically irrelevant from that whole early game unless Alistar is roaming like mid to get a support gank down. Like, it was basically all on you and Zin to continue this dominance in the early game and translate it to later, and you
hmm
guys failed. So that, I would say,
Yeah.
that's why you lost the game, because a lot of weird positionings got you guys killed.
Fair. Totally fair. Cool. All right. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate it. I know you got another person that you got to talk to, so I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah, it was a good session. I think there was a lot of things we could. I think it was a lot of things that I brought up that I can see you implementing with time. Like, you didn't do bad in that lane phase. Honestly, that was a very clean lane phase. I wasn't expecting that.
Mhm.
It was just your translation into the game was poor, but I think you can do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you can get that done. If you can get that done and you can just optimize all these little things to get to play the map better, yeah, I think you can hit plat down in no time.
Yeah. That's definitely. I think playing the map better is something that I definitely need to improve on. It's just something that I've learned a lot in this session, as well as all the other information. So, yeah, I totally appreciate that, and I'd look forward to hopefully learning some more from you.
Yeah, no problem. If anything, just shoot me a message on Reddit, and we can just we schedule something for another time.
Sweet, awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. This has been really informational for me and helpful.
Yeah, no problem. All
All
right,
right, man. I'll follow you on Twitch as well.
all right. Thanks. Hope you
Cool.
have a good day.
All right, you too. Peace.
Peace.